I would never actually do this, like ever. But I think it's really important for people to see how words actually affect people because it's really fucked up.
Sydney Sweeney just set Hollywood on fire after dropping an absolute bombshell about Ryan Reynolds, a secret he's been desperate to keep buried. What's wild is she wasn't even trying to start drama. She just got caught in the crossfire after someone else started talking. But the fallout? Instant. Within 24 hours, Sydney's name was quietly erased from not one, not two, but 3 major film projects. Whatever she uncovered clearly hit a nerve. And it's got everyone asking the same question. What on earth is Ryan hiding? Now, Sydney's done playing nice. And trust me, her revenge isn't just petty, it's poetic. She's not out to make noise. She's out to make a statement. And every move she's making is hitting Ryan right where it hurts. His ego, his empire, and that squeaky clean, good guy image he's been polishing for years. Hollywood's about to learn that Sydney Sweeney doesn't forgive, she strategizes.
Euphoria star Sydney Sweeney broke down in tears on an emotional live.
Here's where everything went straight to hell. April 15th, 2025. Sydney Sweeney boarded her flight back to New York, riding the high of the biggest weekend of her career. The Glass Chapel panel in Paris was a full-blown triumph. Critics were finally giving her the respect she'd fought for. Netflix execs were whispering about awards season, and Ryan Reynolds was strutting around like he'd discovered her himself. Proud, smug, untouchable. Everything looked perfect, until the whispers started. Until the phone calls stopped. Until Sydney realized that somewhere between Paris and JFK, her entire Hollywood future had just been quietly erased.
Changes overnight.
The fallout didn't hit with fireworks. It rotted in silence. Sydney landed back in the States expecting headlines, scripts, maybe even an award season buzz. Instead, her phone stayed dead silent. No calls, no press requests, no invites. Just a slow, creeping dread that something had shifted. That she'd been quietly erased. One minute, she was Hollywood's next Golden Girl. The next, she was invisible.
Is this happening?
And it all traced back to that one flight. That one overheard conversation. 2 rows ahead, Ryan Reynolds was doing what he does best, performing. Only this time, it wasn't for a camera. It was on a call. Loud, casual, reckless. He wasn't even trying to hide it. In that cabin full of strangers, he let it slip. I was never her husband. I was the image, the beard. There was a contract. Just like that, the glossy, Pinterest-perfect Reynolds lively fairy tale shattered. Every couple goals post, every interview, every staged laugh, all suddenly looked like the world's longest PR campaign.
Ryan Reynolds confessing to Blake Lively being his beard was definitely not on my bingo card.
No one, and I mean no one, had this on their bingo card. But in that moment, Sydney didn't react, didn't flinch, didn't even roll her eyes. Someone else did. Maybe a nosy exec, maybe an assistant who lives for chaos. Whoever it was, they connected the dots. And just like that, Sydney, innocently seated within earshot, became the problem. Not because she said anything, but because she could have. And in Hollywood, the threat of exposure is more lethal than the truth itself. Suddenly, she was radioactive. Projects that had been greenlit vanished overnight. Directors stopped replying. Her agent started dodging calls. Within 48 hours, she was blacklisted, quietly, efficiently, without explanation. That's the art of Hollywood erasure. No statements, no scandal, just absence. And as for Reynolds, please, he kept posting his little smirking selfies like nothing had happened. While Sydney's career burned in silence, Ryan was still out here doing his best impression of calm, posting cheeky Instagram stories, cracking dad jokes, pretending everything was fine. Publicly, he was still the golden boy, Marvel's favorite quip machine, Blake's devoted husband, the brand-safe king of banter. But privately, the walls were closing in fast. Marvel, who apparently runs tighter surveillance than the CIA, had already marked him as a liability. Not for cheating, not for drugs, for domestic instability. And here's the real plot twist. Instead of cleaning up his mess, they cleaned out Sydney. She became the sacrificial lamb of his PR containment. She wasn't leaking stories, wasn't stirring the pot. She just existed too close to the truth, and that alone made her disposable. By April 17th, the blackout wasn't creeping in. It was complete. Quiet, surgical, final. Sydney Sweeney hadn't said a word. No denial, no cryptic tweet. No sources close to the actress whisper campaign. But in Hollywood, silence isn't neutral, it's dangerous. And for Sydney, it was treated like a confession. Publicist went radio silent, which is practically a death sentence in PR. You could almost feel the panic behind the scenes, like someone had pulled a fire alarm and then locked the exits. Sydney's team kept refreshing their inboxes, waiting for a fix, an apology, something. But there was nothing to fix because the damage wasn't accidental. It was policy. The official excuse? Scheduling confusion. The reality? A studio-wide blackout executed with military precision. Sydney Sweeney wasn't trending. She was being erased in real time. Every photo cropped, every headline rewritten, every social mention quietly deleted. And when fans started digging, the pattern became impossible to ignore. Just days before, Ryan Reynolds had been photographed alone at a last-minute promo dinner that Sydney was originally slated to co-host. Her name had vanished from the seating chart. Her RSVP conveniently lost. Someone wasn't just cutting her out. They were rewriting history as if she'd never been there in the first place. By the time her team realized what was happening, it was too late. The campaign had moved on without her, the interviews were reshot, and the narrative was sealed. Sydney didn't lose her spotlight. It was confiscated. Mention of Sydney, not one. The woman who co-led the film was written out of her own premiere, replaced by a Photoshop fantasy cooked up in some PR war room. And just like that, reality was rewritten. Blake and Ryan's narrative was restored. The perfect couple, the perfect red carpet, the perfect illusion. The timing couldn't have been more deliberate. Within hours, the fake photo became the official one. Syndicated, watermarked, and re-uploaded across every platform. Even Netflix's official page shared it. No one corrected it. No one dared. Behind the scenes, Sydney's reps tried to flag the doctored image, but the pushback was brutal. They were told to let the optics breathe. Translation: don't challenge the lie, or you'll go down with it. And when one of Sydney's stylists quietly commented she wasn't there on a fan post, the account vanished overnight. The studio wanted silence, not truth. By the morning of April 21st, Sydney's IMDb page had been temporarily updated. Her photo swapped, her credits shuffled below the supporting cast. It was like someone had pressed delete on her career, frame by frame. And still, she said nothing, not a word, not a cryptic quote, not a subtweet. Just digital erasure in real time. Chapel. Legal jargon meant to sound respectful while effectively buying her silence. The message was clear: take the payout, sign the NDA, and disappear quietly. No lawsuits, no statements, no truth. The contract was worded so delicately it could pass for a thank you letter. In recognition of Ms. Sweeney's creative input and performance contributions, it began, followed by a clause that stripped her of any claim to promotional rights or future royalties. Translation: accept this check and we erase your name from history. Sydney didn't say yes. She didn't say no. She just listened, while a team of professionals discussed how to dismantle her career like a malfunctioning product. The Netflix advisor spoke in euphemisms about reputation containment. The PR manager called it optics recalibration. But the rep from Blake's camp, she said it outright. We can't afford confusion around the Reynolds lively narrative right now. And that was the moment it clicked. This wasn't just about an overheard conversation or a marketing glitch. It was about control. Over perception, over narrative, over who gets to exist in Hollywood's version of reality. Sydney wasn't being punished for speaking. She was being punished for listening. That night, she forwarded the entire call transcript to someone she trusted. Not a lawyer, not her agent, but a journalist. And by the next morning, the first email leaks hit inboxes across town, fresh peonies. The caption read, "When they go low, pour higher." It looked like another harmless lifestyle post. Delicate font, warm tones, faux wisdom, but everyone knew what it meant. It wasn't a quote. It was a warning. By the next morning, the PR machine was in overdrive. Entertainment outlets began circulating a new narrative. That Sydney had become emotionally overwhelmed. That she was taking space for personal growth. And that Glass Chapel's press rollout had been mutually adjusted. The story was polished, sterilized, and completely false, but cracks were showing. Independent journalists started piecing together the inconsistencies, mismatched timestamps, metadata anomalies, quietly edited articles. One entertainment lawyer even posted a thread titled, "How to Erase a Star, the Sydney Sweeney Clause." Within hours, it went viral. Blake's image was supposed to stay untouchable, curated, graceful, always above the noise. But this time the noise was getting louder. Screenshots, deleted posts, and redacted press kits were forming a digital trail too precise to ignore. For the first time, her brand, that perfect blend of charm and control, was slipping. And behind the scenes, Reese Witherspoon wasn't just mentoring Sydney, she was mobilizing her. The Apple TV Plus project moved from rumor to active development. Calls were being made, lawyers were being consulted. And one internal memo, later leaked to The Hollywood Reporter, included a single line that summed up the brewing storm. They tried to silence her. Instead, they made her headline material. Would you like me to continue with Intro 10, where Blake's retaliation escalates into a full-blown industry war? And Reese Witherspoon becomes the unexpected architect of Sydney's comeback? On May 1st, Sydney Sweeney logged onto Instagram Live. No teaser, no warning, no glossy lighting. Just a bare face, natural light, and a caption that read, "You can't delete what actually happened." Within 10 minutes, over 300,000 people joined. She didn't mention Blake by name. She didn't have to. Her words were razor sharp without ever breaking legal ground. "Sometimes you think you're part of a team," she said. "And then you realize you were the storyline they were trying to bury." The chat flooded instantly. Heart emojis. "We love yous," and hundreds of comments repeating the phrase that had haunted the industry for weeks. She didn't sign? Then she held up a script. White cover. No title visible, just a corner of a logo. "Hello, Sunshine. Reese Witherspoon's production company." She smiled. "Some people think silence protects them," she said. "Turns out, it just gives you time to write." Within hours, the live had been clipped, reposted, and dissected by every outlet from Variety to Deux Mois. Headlines flooded timelines, Sydney Sweeney breaks silence, and Blake's PR shield cracks. The girl they tried to erase just became Hollywood's new heroine. Netflix refused to comment. Blake's team went dark. Ryan's latest project was suddenly under review. And Reese Witherspoon, ever the strategist, posted a single image, a sunflower breaking through concrete. Caption, "Growth always finds the light." The war Blake started to silence, one woman had just made another. Unstoppable. Would you like the next part to open with the industry fallout and Blake's retaliation plan leaking through her own inner circle? Retaliation plan leaking through her own inner circle?